What up, HubSpot super admins? I am Matt Bolian here today with a legend, a HubSpot fluencer. I don't know what we're calling it. Shadab Khan from Rev Partners, as on the play RevOps, like building playbooks and the products behind everything at Rev Partners. Welcome to the podcast today, Shadab.
Hey Matt, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yes, I could tell by your voice how excited you were. So Shadab's here. He's going to tell us how he started from. I'm sure that we could use some anime pictures right now, but how he started from a plebeian and now is a now he's super sand. Okay, we always start from this. Shadab, is the question we like to do is, as you are already a HubSpot super admin and your power is HubSpot. Talk to me. What superpower would you have if you could have any that is not HubSpot?
Like as in fictional superpowers.
Some people say fictional, some people say the real. What would be your
Like like as much as I watch a lot of anime, I would go with some real superpowers. So uh, one would be the ability to read and retain everything I've read.
read and retain everything you've read? I like that. So there's just we're going to call him the sponge.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. The human sponge.
Yeah, just bulletproof memory. You read it once, done. Now it's not going anywhere. It's
Yeah, I like
sticking.
you call it bulletproof. I'm calling you the bulletproof sponge. Shadab,
Yeah.
that's what you are now, forever, for me. Well, Shadab, we're gonna go through your story, how you found HubSpot, why you're not using Salesforce. But we'll just talk about what led you on your journey and what led you here. Some people often will see, like Michael Jordan, you'll see someone perform something really well, and it's really easy not to see all the background story of those people behind it. But before we get started, what are 3 things that people in the audience today don't know about you?
Hmm. Uh, don't know about me. So one is I was actually not a full time, but uh, I was full on into martial arts kung fu at one point in time.
So full on means what? Give me the
Uh,
extent.
yeah. To be specific, there was this. We would call him the black belt, and there are like some certain grades in black belt. So he was like one of the top of the line. So I was like a one of the students in the class for a really long time at one point in time. So that's one thing I think.
How long? How long? Give me some more details. Is it 10 years? 5
No,
years?
not that long. I mean, come on, 10 years. I'm. It would be like, let's say, 1 year, 2 year. That's it. That's super
Okay.
long for me, for a nerd like me.
That's awesome. So you're you know kung fu, and then what's next? What's number
Uh,
2?
Next is I actually love to travel, but I'm super lazy in terms of thinking about all the travel plans, thinking about doing the transition, handoffs, all of that. So I think about traveling a lot. I literally sometimes pull out all the nature stuff, Switzerland, maybe even in the local areas, but rarely do it actually. So that's second.
So you love to think about traveling, but rarely do it. What's the place you think about the most?
It's mostly in Nordics. It's one of the dreams that I want to see. What do you call that? Aurora Borealis, Northern Lights. It's one
Mm-hmm.
of the things in my bucket list. See it, witness that live.
Okay, so we got the Northern Lights, Kung Fu Master, and number 3. What's something you can't read on your resume?
um, I like strawberries. That's pretty much obvious. Uh,
So if you haven't met Shadab and you meet him in the wild, you will see people randomly give him strawberry emojis or memes, and it's because he loves strawberries. I have never actually seen him eat one, so I can't confirm this, but he does say he likes them. So it's good. Uh, well, Shadab, let's get into what the people want to hear, and that's there's some cool. I think it's cool to take off the mask and see you for who you are. But next, let's talk about your journey to HubSpot. Okay. And before we like how we get there, where did you start? So like you get out of college, or you're like, were you dreaming to be in RevOps? Like what did you think start off saying you were going to do?
So I was like, you know what? So I come from a family of, business people. My dad is a business person. Like I'm literally sitting in his property right now, office. So uh, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run my own business. And right out of the college, I started this side hustle thing for a little while, and it actually worked. I didn't know anything about HubSpot, but I knew a little bit of marketing, sales, and stuff,
Hmm.
and learned a lot from Academy at that point. Didn't know a software like that or CRM or anything like that, but the core knowledge that they're sharing, I learned from there and actually closed a good amount of deals internationally at that point.
So you had
And then
so you were like you had you're like a partner agency freelance, and you sold deals. You just learned on the academy and started self-taught HubSpot.
yeah, I actually was selling these shirts, men's fashion stuff, simple ones. So I was actually selling those, and the office that you see, it was a semi, know, workspace with machines for stitching and packaging and all of that
Whoa!
stuff.
So you were a true like when I said start, you didn't have a HubSpot agency. You had a men's fashion, not even
Yep.
distribution. Like you were building and constructing clothes. Like you're a fabricator. You were wow. Okay. Okay. Were you making everything, or did you even hire? Like you're hiring people?
No, I cannot make stuff like that. I had a vision, like, so there are like different markets in fashion. Like we can talk about that a lot, but I was like shooting arrows in the dark, like whatever hits. Like right off the college, no plan, nothing. I learned inbound from, HubSpot. I was like, you know what, let's take this and take this to practical level. Did that for a year or so, and then COVID hit. Entire operations logistics was stuck. Like many of the orders, like clients, foreign clients from South America, Europe, like all of that, like they're freaking out. I'm freaking out. Fabric is stuck in the washing facility, in printing facility, in a stitching facility, and everything is just down. I was like, holy crap, this is bad.
Uh,
uh, they already made the payment, so I was not in that hole, but people who relied on me were. So it was a very bad situation, and they understood, like it's a COVID thing, so you cannot do anything about that. And after, like, it ended, I shipped all of this stuff. Like, it was super late, super ultra late for everyone. They had a release in 2020, and they got the order like 1 year late, which is like huge in this industry. So that happened.
one,
I closed,
so you're 1 year late. It's just okay. That's all. I mean, that's just COVID. I mean, everything got stuck. The whole logistics chain, everything.
yeah, entire thing.
Okay. So you ran out of school. You had a dream to run a business, and you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna do fashion." You found you ran and you started thinking about how I'm marketing and selling this. You started. That's when you found HubSpot, and you started using. I'm
Uh,
assuming, did you use HubSpot at that point to the operate? No. So you just found HubSpot in a way of it taught me how to do marketing via inbound to get
yeah.
people. And did that work? Were people coming to a website and
Yeah,
purchasing?
sort of. So it was a partnered lead generation. So there was this directory platform I signed up to, and I was like, okay, leads are incoming in this, and then I just have to take care of the sales and optimizing my listing and my presence over there. So that worked. Like I actually, so like right off the college, I was like selling. 10,000 US dollars worth of deals. So that was big at that point.
That is so that's pretty cool. So you figured out this inbound. How am I generating leads coming in? You found a partner first motion. You found essentially you found a place you probably paid to be on there that already had inbound in it, so that you had inbound leads
Yes,
coming to you, and then
yes,
you were the operations behind it. That's really cool. Okay, so you and that's how you that was your first taste of HubSpot. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
and
and
that was
then
good.
everything fell apart at COVID.
Yeah, oh crap. I was like, and there are like couple of stuff going on. So if you are running a business, especially on the operation side, you have to deal with people and a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and they create bottlenecks and dependencies, which I hate. Like I hate that to guts. So I was like, no, it's like running a business is not my thing. Like I can handle sales, I can handle marketing, I can handle software, I can handle website, all of that which is on me, I can do that. But as soon as it's dependent on a workman who I have to call 5,000 times a day to get that one batch done, it's super hard. I was like, I'm not doing that. Let's ship everything, close this. I'm gonna look for a full-time job. So I joined in a manufacturing company, uh, just for sales, like sales and marketing. It was like a dynamic function. It was a small company. So joined there, was like, okay, no more operations, just gonna sell stuff and and market stuff, create demand, capture demand, and basically the ops people, the people who are actually building stuff, managing projects, they're gonna take care of all of that mess. I don't have to deal with these people at least. So,
Uh, so you went into a manufacturing company in as an SDR or AE. Were you selling large deals?
so it was a mix. So I was in the marketing and in sales, like in between that.
Mm.
So I was not actually doing cold calls. Like they had a influx of inbound lead coming in, but it was not enough. So part of my job was to get more leads and then close more deals. Like it was a
Hmm.
dynamic, bulky job. Their
Okay.
their revenue function was non-existent. Like when I came in.
So it almost starts to you're even at that point. I mean, it called biz ops, but you're starting to look at a larger funnel from the dark funnel. I didn't like before to lead, taking that lead and turning it into a MQL SQL using that terminology, and then you being responsible for closing it. So you started to look at like that was you're starting to look at a larger funnel, and you'd already done that as a business, but you had to go further. You had to deliver. So this almost like it
Mhm.
was almost like a relief. All I have to do is create leads and close them. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's it.
So you were at that time. This is 2020 ish, right? At this point, like
Yeah, somewhere 2020, end
okay.
of 2020 or maybe 2021, maybe.
So eventually, were you what CRM were you using, and then what led you to say, "Hey, I want to do rev"? Because you said I want to do revenue operations. What led you to that point?
So it's an interesting story from this point. I joined this organization, and like I saw, okay, this how do you guys work right now? Like how do you create leads and how do you close them? Like what is the process? And they literally like gave me the piles of paper, like folders of paper. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Do you operate out of this pen and paper? Like, are you kidding me? They are like, no, it's not pen and paper, it's printouts. I'm like, still pen and paper. Come on, let's get real. So basically, they would do something like this. They would get leads which would ping their email, and then one person was responsible for just printing out that email and then putting that in a file. And they were arranging. So if there are like inquiry, like soft lead, just a high, so they would print that out in a separate batch, and there was a segmentation. And if it's a existing customer, they'll get the RFQ and then store it somewhere. If it's a technical tech spec level inquiry, they will hold it in a separate folder. So they would have all those folders and files of pen and paper, literally. And I was like, not even Excel sheet. They was like, no, not even Excel sheets. Like, okay, this is gonna be a work. So I was like, I cannot really work in this organization unless I figure this out to get like have them a place to run this business. Like it's not gonna work. It's not scalable. So I started looking into how do you centralize everything. So learned about customer relationship management systems. There were like plenty of systems, and I'm like looking at Pipedrive, Salesforce, Dynamics, and Zoho and whatnot, like couple of, and then HubSpot also came to mind. I was like, hey, HubSpot, I think I know HubSpot. I have a couple of certifications.
So isn't that crazy? I mean, what a cool thing. It's like they taught you from your previous business selling men's fashion. Then you
Yeah.
end up as essentially the RevOps person on accident for this manufacturing
Hmm.
company, and
Yes.
they have an undue influence on you or outsized impact because because they taught you how to do inbound. Okay.
Yeah. I was like, let's get a trial of this software X, Y, and Z. So we tried a couple of those. I was like, looks like HubSpot is the most scalable one. So let's get to it. So I got HubSpot, and we got the sales professional, and then I started breaking stuff. Like I didn't knew anything about CRM. I didn't know anything. I'm just breaking stuff, creating fields, like creating 5 fields which could have been done in one with 5 different values, but I did create five. And then like I created a lot of single line text, which I literally hate myself for doing that at that point.
Okay. Oh, that's funny.
So, so that was one of the thing, and I automated the sales process with sequences, workflows, handoff between leads, created the pipeline. So they had a qualification pipeline for RFQs. They had a actual sales pipeline for actually closing the deals once the negotiation, and you're talking numbers. So like all of that process, like I learned by doing, and build it from the scratch. So that was the like first interaction with like HubSpot as a software, as a tool. And then eventually the organization decided we want to build a ERP system in HubSpot. So they didn't have enterprise, so I didn't have access to custom objects, and they had some influence with like with regards to Salesforce, because you can build that app level architecture
Mm-hmm.
in Salesforce. You can build a sales app, you can build a vendor app, you can build a projects app, and you can club the objects within that. So that's when we made a switch from HubSpot to Salesforce, which was like at that point, which was a good move, depending on their use case. But later on, HubSpot, trumped everything. So I
Yeah, that
don't
was
know
before you
what's
could push button create custom objects, before you could have any even private apps. So you took this journey where you essentially became a RevOps person. It was your job to take. I just want to say here for a second, that company was not failing. They were using paper, and there's a lot of optimization there. But I just want to sit here for a second so we hear it. What matters more than the system you use is that you have a process that is followed and adopted. And so,
Yeah.
and you'll hear me. You hear I'm a little bit of a zealot on this, but as long as you follow a process, you can fix a process. Um, okay, so you saw a process that was being followed. You saw segmentation. You saw what was happening, and you were able to take that, move it into HubSpot. They had some unique needs that HubSpot perhaps at that time it was harder to think through how to solve. Move to Salesforce.
Yeah.
What led you
I mean,
to
one of
what led you to leave that organization and say, hey, I want to think about RevOps full time for more than one use case?
uh, so partially it was lack of growth opportunities, because I had grown my skills in this technical domain a lot, and partially it was Salesforce. I hated Salesforce, and like
So you, what? So you get it. You get into Salesforce. What? I don't spend too much time on here because we all. But what were the two reasons? Okay, we made this switch. Yes, it's more functional, but I don't like it for one, two.
yeah, it wasn't like super user friendly. That was the first one, and one of the key reason we did the switch was because of costs initially. So like HubSpot will not sell you 5 seats. We required five, like that was like very painstaking meeting that I had, like I was like, okay, if we need enterprise, we have to get all 10 seats. Like they don't have this option. Salesforce at that point had this option. You could buy just 2 seats with enterprise. So I was like, okay, that's how they got like sold. So user adoption was declining, and I had to rebuild everything. That was one key. And second, I I was getting pulled into operations again because the operation person was bad at their job. So I was getting pulled back in operations as well. So it was like it's gonna be a lot of back and forth. So let's look for something else. And that's what I discovered. You know what, this admin thing, HubSpot admin or Salesforce admin, this is also a career path. Let's look at that. So that's how I start looking at that, and basically joined a HubSpot
Okay.
agency at the end.
So you joined a HubSpot agency, and where are you eventually end up at Rev Partners, and now you are doing, what are you doing, and why do you like it or not like it now?
So I joined as a strategist at first. Like strategist is like your first role that you get once you join, and it's a super hard role even to get into. Like you'll like the first interview, I remember, like they'll literally be like a very mean customer to you during the interview process. I know you know that better than me, but that's how I was like, okay, this is gonna be hard, but finally I got into it. So strategist role is basically building the entire go to market function. Not really lots of marketing stuff, we do that, but you build different kinds of revenue stream, how the revenue is coming, what are the sources, how it is segmented. Basically you enable the folks, your frontline folks, to create revenue data and then basically use that to your advantage for your intelligence, or
So
whatever you can say,
you
for
became a
decision making.
strategist, and that'll mean something different to every different company. But essentially, you were the person that were leading point for as a RevOps managed service thing. Now, what are you doing now, and how do you have time to keep up with all the HubSpot product updates? Like, what is because there's a point where all of a sudden Shadab Khan is on all my LinkedIn feeds, and I love it, but I don't know how it happened. So
So basically strategist role is you are totally customer facing. You do stuff for the customers. You are handling multiple accounts. This new role is called product manager, which is like complex. It's basically strategist role on steroids. So you still have account so that you're in weeds in the trenches of what's going on real time, and then you build solutions like scalable solutions for the entire team. Learn from them, and then build solution, rinse and repeat. That's what I do in a nutshell.
so you build RevOps service products. Okay. And so your
Nice.
job is to do what you are putting on LinkedIn, essentially, to know that stuff.
Um, that's just part of my job, because what I share mostly is like new HubSpot releases and some use cases. This is how you can leverage that. Sometimes I share how to videos. This is how you do stuff to
Hmm.
get this outcome. So the second variation
Or
is most on
okay.
my job role. We are trying to incorporate the first one because HubSpot is like super fast these days. So if you have built a solution, you have to look back constantly. Okay, this new update came. Let's go back and update that
Ain't
product
that
that we
true?
have built.
Whatever, like if you had a solution, you're like, oh, I got a very creative solution for a workaround against, you don't even need the workaround anymore, and what you built is obsolete, and all your playbooks are wrong. Yeah. So if you're doing this journey and you had you probably had, and I think this is getting more and more common, but it was not common, where you had a very direct path to becoming a being in the HubSpot ecosystem, and you could even say a professional that specializes in HubSpot as RevOps, and that you're net new. Some people would say, I want that, and they're like, how do I make the shift? You did it. What are 3 tips you would give people if they were looking to make a shift or entry into being RevOps and specializing in HubSpot? What are the 3 things you would recommend for them to do?
That's a very good question. So when I joined my first like agency, I had this, large curiosity and hunger for knowledge. I was like, hey, how do I get better at this? Because you have to have that functional knowledge, no matter like if anyone says like it's a piece of cake, anyone can do that, fine, but they are talking about the end users. We are talking about the technical solutions that you are building for end users. So you are not the end user anymore. So if you think it's like super easy, it's not. You have to be in the weeds. So tip number one, be curious. Two, do it, just do it, break stuff. Sign up for a developer portal, it's free, and break stuff. Tip number three, rinse and repeat. Try to unlearn. Like I did this stuff back in the day, it's not gonna work now because like they are moving super fast. I literally built a couple of large scale workflows, and the next day there is this new HubSpot update. I was like, okay, kill the entire workflow, build the new one.
Mm, I love this idea of not, I'll put this as we often will create something and it becomes a puppy to us. It becomes a dog that we love. And sometimes, you don't want to kill your dog. Like it just becomes, you become emotionally attached to it. And there is this, when updates are coming so often, especially in the HubSpot today, like the RevOps person today has to be willing to kill their dog. And I know it sounds big, it sounds awful, but like your baby, you have to say, man, I was so proud of this, and it's obsolete, and it is no longer something to be proud of. I have to go unlearn and relearn. I think that's a really good point. Well, Shadab, thank you for being with us. I loved hearing your journey. I hope more people have a journey like you that is direct into RevOps. They get good at HubSpot. And it sounds like you just go, move fast, break things, fail often, give 80%, and your 6 out of 10 will become everyone else's 9 out of 10. How would I stay in contact with you if I want to learn more from the Shadab Khan? We're calling you the sponge now. So
You can find me in Sprocketeers Discord channel, LinkedIn. Uh, yeah, that's two places. And if you wanna get in touch with me via Rev Partners, I'm also here. Book a time, let's chat.
Roger. Well,
Yep.
thank you for your time. Everybody, stay awesome. Keep doing it big and stay a little bit super. Adios, everybody.